Peace and blessings. Welcome back to the channel once again, where we talk all things health and healing from a holistic perspective, and today will be no different. Today we're going to talk about the 10 biggest mistakes that people make when they're trying to detox their bodies so that they can heal their bodies. Now, first of all, you're probably asking yourself the question, how is detoxing related to healing? Okay. I will go out on a limb to say that most of the diseases that people are struggling with, the conditions that people are struggling with, is as a result of toxicity. Okay? Give you a few examples. When you think about, especially here in America, we're being poisoned. There's no other way to say it. When you think about the American food supply, American food supply chain here is banned in over 30 countries. Why would 30 countries ban our food? And you literally would have to, as a company, the companies that make food in America literally have to change their ingredients in order to be able to sell their products in other countries. So our food is banned in other countries, okay? When you think about our water supply, the water supply is laced with chlorine, fluorine, chloramine, and the list goes on and on. Not only those things that they're intentionally putting in the water, okay, which are poisonous and some are carcinogenic, but also the things that end up in there, like prescription drugs, birth control pills, antipsychotics, antidepressants, etc. And you get microdoses of that, okay? The list goes on and on. So our water supply is tainted. When you think about the air, our air quality, the air is polluted. When you think about where we rank as a nation in terms of like overall healthcare. Now, let me put this in perspective for you for just a second. America, bar none, has the most expensive healthcare system in the world. We got the most expensive drugs. Americans pay the most for healthcare insurance. And despite it being by far the most expensive healthcare insurance in the world, the most expensive drugs, the most expensive technology, the most advanced technology, despite all of that, when we compared ourselves to other industrial nations, the top 7 industrial nations, we ranked last, okay? And when you looked at our overall health in terms of performance, we ranked 37th. There were many small countries that ranked above us. So not only are we getting poisoned, but even our American system, like the healthcare system itself, the 3rd leading cause of death. 1, 2, 3. The 3rd leading cause of death, medical error. Okay, so it tells you that we're being poisoned, we're being killed. And so that's one reason, okay, by itself. But just think about this. What does toxicity do to the body? Toxicity is toxic because it's what's causing us to be overweight. You think about America. We're the most obese nation in the world. Not only the most obese nation in the world right now, because somewhere around 75% of our population is either overweight or obese. When you combine those two, it's about 75%. But we're the most obese and overweight nation that has ever existed, okay? And whenever I see excess fat on the body, most people think to themselves, this person's eating themselves to death, okay? But I know plenty of people who are overweight who don't even eat a lot, okay? But what they are saturated with is toxins. So when I see somebody who's overweight, I instantly think they're very toxic. And I also think they're malnourished, meaning that they're deficient in many things, okay? Because when you're eating a lot of processed foods, there's not a lot of nourishment in there, okay? So toxicity leads to obesity, okay? Also, toxicity is why we have so many gut issues, which is one of the leading causes of why people end up in the ER or end up at their doctor's office, okay? So it's one of the leading causes of why we have so many gut issues. Basically, all of the food, especially processed food, is going to have glyphosate in it. It's going to have other pesticides, herbicides in it as well too. Not to mention on top of all of the toxic ingredients that they're using, the preservatives, the emulsifiers, the thickening agents, it goes on and on, the dyes, etc. Okay, the toxic seed oils, The list goes on and on and on. So this isn't not only making our tissues toxic, but it's definitely making our gut toxic. And we all know that health begins and ends in the gut, okay? It's also why we're having so many issues around brain fog and ADD and the inability to pay attention, okay? Because a lot of these toxins are getting across that blood-brain barrier, okay? And causing a lot of inflammation and issues in the brain as well, too. It's also why our blood pressures are so elevated and our blood sugars are so elevated, our blood cholesterols are so elevated. But it's also why we're having issues around fertility as well, too. We're seeing people in their 20s having to go to a fertility doctor, okay? The reason why we're having so many hormonal issues, both on the men and women's side. So all of these things tie back to toxins, okay? Things that our great-grandparents never had to experience, okay? And when I say that, I want you to think about this. Genetically modified foods came into existence in the 90s and became prevalent in the 2000s, okay? So that's one checklist that great-grandma didn't have to experience, okay? Processed foods became particularly prevalent in the market in the 80s and the 90s, okay? They came out onto the scene right after World War II, but they came very popular in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, okay? So great-grandmother didn't have to grow up with that. All right. Just think about all of the things today that we're being exposed to, EMF coming from cell phones, computers, Wi-Fi, etc. All of these things that our great-grandparents did not have to experience. So it's just important to know and understand that the amount of toxicity that we're being exposed to today would absolutely, like, no true watchdog to say, what are the combination of all of these toxins doing to our bodies? This is why we're so sick. This is why we're so obese. This is why we're so lethargic. And this is why we can't think straight, okay? So this is why detoxing is absolutely so important. Now, if you're gonna detox, you need to know some of these common mistakes. So I'm gonna jump into 10 of them. I'm gonna share 10 of the most common mistakes that I see people do, not only on my detox, but I also see people do when they're just detoxing individually with themselves. I commonly see this. And this is the reason why people don't get the true benefits of a detox, okay? Now stay to the end, because I got a little surprise for you at the end, because I have a deadline coming up on August 19th that I'm gonna give you an opportunity to get these toxins out of your body with me. All right, so let's get into it. Number one, biggest mistake that people make, and this is in no order of priority, but one, not drinking enough water. Why is that important? Because how the body gets rid of toxicity is primarily by using water, okay? All right, so how does the body get rid of toxicity? Through the bowels, through the kidneys, through urine, okay? We get rid of uric acid. Through the bowels, we get rid of waste out of our gut. Through the skin, we get rid of things through perspiration. All of those things require water. So if you're dehydrated, and most people are, you're not gonna be able to get these toxins out of your body. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people's detox program doesn't go well, because they're not drinking enough water, all right? Number two, they're eating a trash diet thinking that they're gonna cleanse their body. I mean, just think about that for a second. How can you try to get toxins out while you're still putting them in? And so you have to understand, you gotta eat a cleansing diet, okay? A diet that not only cleanses, but nourishes. And most people are eating a diet that clogs, all right? So that's number two. Number three, not opening all the elimination channels. So you have several elimination channels in the body. And this is something that I go over with people in my group detox all the time. But again, you got your liver, you got your kidneys, you got your bowels, you got your lymphatic system, you got your ability to sweat and so forth. The most important thing that you could do while you're detoxing is to make sure that all of those elimination channels are open, okay? Because if you're just stirring up toxins, pulling them out of the tissues, pulling them out of the cells, pulling them out, putting them in the blood supply, and then trying to get them out of the body, but those elimination channels are blocked, okay? Most people are constipated. I know plenty of people who don't even sweat when they work out. Plenty of people who are having kidney disease and kidney issues are not urinating properly. And the list goes on. And most people don't know anything about their lymphatic system or how to stimulate their lymphatic system. So it's just really important to understand it. You got to make sure that you're very intentional about opening up these elimination channels, because if you're not, the unfortunate thing is you're just going to be stirring up toxins that aren't eliminated from the body. And that is probably more dangerous than you actually trying to get the toxins out. Okay? Because in the body's ingenuity, it was putting the toxins in places primarily in fat. Again, this is why I say when I see somebody who is overweight, I see somebody who is toxic, because that's primarily where the body puts most of the toxins, in fat. So it's just important to know that you gotta open up these elimination channels so that you can actually get these toxins out of the body, okay? So hugely important. Number 4, not getting enough rest, okay? When you start to stimulate detoxification in the body, okay, you need to allow the body time to rest. The reason why that's so important is because when we rest, that's when we rejuvenate and that's when we rebuild, okay? All right? As a matter of fact, if I go to the gym, work out, and I don't rest, I don't rebuild, okay? So you don't grow your muscles. So if you're out there, you're one of those people who work out all the time, but you're not getting results because you're not resting properly or you're not getting deep sleep, you got to focus on your rest, and then you'll see the results start to improve. Well, it's the same thing while you're detoxing. You have to rest, okay? You have to be more regimented while you're detoxing. So you may have to go to a schedule where you say, okay, at 8 o'clock, I'm shutting off all devices, and by 9 o'clock, I'm in the bed, okay? And then that way, you're not only getting to bed at a decent hour, but you're getting to bed during your circadian rhythm where that rest and rebuild is actually happening, okay? Hugely important. A lot of people forget that you gotta get rest, and you gotta increase the amount of rest you get as well too. So you might even wanna throw some naps in there as well too, okay? No, while you're detoxing, you don't need to work out vigorously, okay? The rest, you resting, getting like adequate sleep, it's probably going to be more beneficial for you than if I were to compare the two. Hey, today, do you need to work out or do you need to rest? I would say rest and then get a walk in. That's it. All right. So number 4, hugely important. A lot of people don't consider the importance of getting enough rest, and they're up all night on their phones, watching episodes of Suits or whatever it may be. And as a result of that, like, they don't get the full benefits of their detox, okay? Number 5, detoxing too fast, okay? And that could also be detoxing not for long enough. I can't tell you how many people walk up to me and say, hey, I did your detox. And I'm like, okay, cool. Did you do the 14-day, the 28-day, or the 30-day group detox? And they say, oh, well, I was only able to do it for 3 days, so I just did it over the weekends, but I definitely have felt the effects. And I'm like, that's not detoxing. I'm like, you did not detox. I said, it's important for you to know how my detox works. Your body's only starting to enter into detoxification. That means that liver, which has been saturated with toxins 3 times a day with the food that you eat, and every time you drink water, and every time you breathe in this and put this on your skin, and et cetera, for this many decades, that liver, which is now sluggish, is just now starting to get going because of certain herbs that I pull in there that stimulate it, certain herbs that I put in there to stimulate the kidneys, certain herbs I put in there to stimulate the bowels, et cetera, et cetera. If you think that can happen in 2 days, like Amazon Prime, it does not work that way. And it's dangerous to try to detox the body too fast. That's why I always say the shortest detox I have is 14 days. Okay? Because it takes time to get those toxins out of the body. Okay? So trying to detox too fast or not long enough, you're doing yourself a disservice, because just think about it like this. During my group detox, week 1, your body is just really entering into detoxification. Week 2, the body is finally adjusting to it, starting to open up those elimination channels. And then by week 3, you're starting to feel some of the results of now those elimination channels being open and those toxins being flooded out of the body. And by week 4, now you're sort of feeling that lightness in the gut and lightness in the body and lightness in the mind. So it's a 4-phase program. And if you stop on day 3 or day 4, day 5, you have not received or actually experienced any of the true benefits of the detox. So it's just hugely important to understand that don't stop and start. And to be honest with you, detoxing should be a lifestyle in the environment that we live in today. Just hugely important. All right, number 6. Another big mistake is people thinking that detoxing is taking a laxative. Taking a laxative could actually be more detrimental than actually, you think. And the reason why I say that, because a laxative is just further dehydrating you. Okay, so you may have some runny stools in that moment, but it's pulling water from places that you actually need it. And you're more than likely already dehydrated, which is why you're not having the bowel movements in the first place. And now you're pulling water from places that were in critical areas or in critical need of that water. And now you're pulling that into the bowels, having a watery stool and calling it detoxing. So that could be really dangerous. And not only dangerous, it's a huge mistake to make in thinking that that is actually detoxing by taking a laxative. I've witnessed athletes, and when I say athletes, I'm talking about professional athletes who reached out to me about my detox. And I said, well, have you ever did a detox before? And they were like, oh yeah, I do them all the time. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, you may want to just do yours. If you have a pretty good one, tell me what yours is about. And they're like, oh, I use magnesium citrate from the pharmacy. I'm like, that ain't it, brother. So hugely important. That's a huge mistake that a lot of people make. It actually makes things worse, not better. Okay, so a laxative is not a detox, and it's not, in the long run, it's not going to be a good thing. Okay. Number 7, detoxing only your body, okay? When I tell you, when you think about the world that we live in today, we not only need our bodies detoxed, we need our habits, our thoughts, our belief systems. We need all of that. We need our environments. We need our social circle. A lot of us are just trying to detox our bodies, but as soon as we go out into the world, or we meet up with that friend, they're dragging us right back into the toxicity, okay? And it's that toxic thinking, those toxic, that toxic environment, those toxic influences that put us right back where we started. So we take 2 steps forward, and then guess what? They pull us 4 steps back. So hugely important to understand that you not only need to detox your body, but while you're on your detox program, you need to be detoxing how you think about things. You need to detox your kitchen. You need to detox everything, your shopping list, et cetera, the people you hang around. It's just hugely important to understand how important that is in terms of like you being successful in your program, okay? Hugely important, all right? Another huge mistake is detoxing, but not replacing the nutrients or nourishing the body while you're detoxing. Because detoxing actually takes a lot out of the body. It takes a lot for us to get rid of heavy metals, to get rid of acid, to get rid of mucus. And sometimes we're not only getting rid of the bad things, but we're also getting rid of the good things as well too. So this is why it's so important for us to understand that while you're on a detox program, you want to make sure you have a nutritional program in tandem that is not only diverse, but is covering all the bases, okay? In terms of like the things that you would typically lose while you're doing a detox, okay? The next biggest mistake is not sweating. One of the primary ways that we get rid of a lot of toxins is through our sweat. This is why I always tell people, like, the first week or two, you may have, a breakout, during my detox. And the reason why you have that breakout is because, again, that's one of the primary ways we eliminate toxicity. The skin is the largest organ of the body, and therefore it makes it the largest elimination organ. So if it's the largest elimination organ, of course, the body is going to use it to eliminate toxicity, especially when you have 3, 4, 5, 6 decades of toxins that are built up and accumulated in the body. It has to use the skin. And so to help the body do that, you need to sweat. Sweating could be exercise, sweating could be the sauna, sweating could be sitting in the sun, but you need to sweat. It's a huge booster to your detox program, okay? And then finally, the last one, last biggest mistake that I commonly see people make is not adopting a surrender, let go mindset, okay? Now, this is a huge one, and this is one that is not often talked about, but it's huge to think about this. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. We know, if you think about it, we can think ourselves into dis-ease, okay? Case in point, we can think ourselves into anxiety. We can think ourselves into depression. We can think ourselves into an ulcer, okay, by stress, all right? So we can think ourselves into disease. We can think ourselves into cancer, all right? So we know that our minds are powerful enough to think ourselves into dis-ease. Well, if we can think ourselves into it, we can think ourselves out of it as well too. But that also goes for detoxification. You can't physically want to remove toxins, let go of toxins, but you're holding on to old habits, okay? You're holding on to old thought systems and beliefs. Your attachment to those old ways of thinking, those old ways of belief, those old habits, those old friends, those old restaurants, those old foods, your attachment to them, even if you think with that in the mindset of, damn, I miss this food, or once this detox is over, I can't wait to go celebrate and eat that food that I love that doesn't love me because it's killing me. It's important to know, if you have that type of mindset, that attachment mindset, where you're having a lot of anxiety during your detox, you're not thinking in gratitude, like, I'm thankful for me going on this journey to heal myself. I'm thankful for these toxins leaving my body. I'm thankful for me detaching myself away from ideals, habits that were no longer serving me or nourishing me. Okay? If you think like that, then you're ready to let those things go. But trust and believe me, and I know this sounds, a bit esoteric and woo-woo, but the more you hold on to all of the things that put you in the position where you need to detox, the more and more you hold on to those things. I want to have this food. I want to go to this restaurant. I want to be able to hang out with my friends or go have a drink, whatever it may be. I want to go be able to smoke, whatever it may be. The more you hold on to that instead of holding on to, I want to love and nourish myself for these 14, 28, or 30-day detox with Dr. Bobby, the more you hold on to that, the more you let go of toxins. The more you hold on to, I want these toxic foods, I love these toxic habits that I can't have, the more you hold on to that, the more you'll hold on to toxicity. And I've seen people who did my group detox 1, 2, and 3 times, and then finally hit them on the 4th time, like, I need to let this stuff go. And they got committed to that idea, and that detox changed. It was nothing like the first 3. So it's hugely important to know that that is a huge mistake that a lot of people make, is that they don't get their mind right before they start the detox program. Now, here's the big plus. If you're looking to start this journey and you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to do this alone, I got about 3 more days and you can join my group detox. Okay, the group detox comes with a 30-day supply of my full body detox that removes parasites, yeast from the body, toxins from the liver, the kidneys, the entire digestive system, etc., etc. Not only that, you get a meal plan, recipes, a food list, an online support group that everybody shows up in, encourages each other, motivates each other during the hard times, and build camaraderie during the good times, and also get coaching, group coaching by myself, one-on-one, coming inside of the group with the entire group. Then I highly suggest you click the link below for the 30-day group detox. Sign up for that. About 10 days from now, we're gonna send you a link to join the online support group. And on September 9th, we'll start this journey together, okay? Now, here's the thing. The deadline to join is August 19th. That's about 3 days away, okay? So if you're on the fence, about your health, then that's a problem in and of itself. But what I will tell you is take the weekend to think about it, and then by August 19th, make a decision about your health, because we've seen people make complete transformations in there. As a matter of fact, this is how I started my transformation. This is how, when I was about 45 pounds heavier than I am now, with high blood pressure, sleep apnea, inflammation all over my body. Yeah, I changed my diet, but what helped me get rid of all of those old cravings for all of those toxic fast foods, sugary beverages, what really helped was doing a detox program that removed all of the things that are causing me to have those bad cravings, all of those things that were causing me to stay attached to my old ways. So I'll put the link below in the bio. Make sure you share this video with somebody, because as you know, detoxing has become a very popular thing, and there's a lot of people out there who are under the impression that they're doing their detox right, and this may be a great video for them to watch, because there's at least 10 things that people commonly do wrong, okay? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and until the next time, peace and blessings and Godspeed.